Yes, folks, people, what's going on in them? Zims, aka the Dark Millennial here, back again with another video. I hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's keeping well. And believe it or not, give it time, man. Then things are gonna get better. It's only a matter of time. We just have to weather things out and abide by the rules. And I know there are some people out there that just think that this virus thing is nothing more than a hoax or a joke, but believe me, man, it isn't. It's just about really just exercising your brain and engaging in what the real is, sort of thing. So please just keep well and look after yourselves out there. That being said, this video here is regarding we had the Disney investor meeting the day, which took place was in December, sort of thing. So it was fantastic to see the content that was coming, what we would be getting, what to look out for, and one of those obviously projects of one of my favorite franchise is right in front of you, the Alien series. More specifically, it seems, or we know for a fact, that FX Alien, Alien is being developed for FX on Hulu, and oh man, I am excited as hell. I'm an avid Alien fan. I've loved the Alien series. Just 1 and 2 will all the time be my ultimate favorites. Followed by again Alien 3, which to be honest with you, that gets a lot of stick, but there is some core beauty and the stylized synthetics that David Fincher does in that movie that is by far beautiful, and I think that gets overlooked because of the hype level that was surrounding it and the controversial manner at the marketing. But maybe I'll do a video on that later or some other time. But and then last but not least, you got obviously Alien Resurrection, which was not bad. It was not bad at all. It was like very more Hollywood-esque, if you're getting it. It was kind of like less substance and more style. It was more about less style and more substance, I think it was just about over cramming what people think. It was kind of like driven around. I remember the time, I think it came around August time, when I went to see it, at least anyway, and it was ramped up as being obviously the next Aliens, but it was for what it was. Didn't quite hit the mark, but I admire for what it did anyway. And it seemed to wrap up at least Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley's saga, at least for what we knew. And for a long time, it was always talked about there was an Alien 5 brewing, and people were thinking in terms of, Ridley Scott was aimed to come back to the franchise and make an Alien on Earth, as well as David Cameron as well. There was some sort of discussion amongst the two, and they were going to bring something. And I remember, this is years back that we were talks about, but nothing came about, and so we were just kind of left, with what we have. But with what we have, I'm not complaining. I've enjoyed them all, but eventually, the good Ridley Scott, he came back, and he delivered with us Prometheus, which I do love. I really love that film, and Alien Covenant. I think with Prometheus, that was a beautiful start, which branched off to what could have been. And I'm still I've got my feeling that we will get the sequel to Alien Covenant, because obviously from Prometheus, the Alien Covenant, which unraveled a lot of mysteries surrounding the engineers, the ones that were responsible for the aliens, it seems. But again, we want to get questions about how that, at least from me, I would love to know what David's plan is, what he has in store for for all his genetics, his experiments. They left on such a cliffhanger, so they've got to at least wrap that up. That's my hope. So anyway, back to, as we said, Alien has been in development for some time now, it seems, for FX. That was fantastic. I believe a while back, there was actually some, if I'm mistaken, we did actually hear some news of there being an Alien in development, if I'm mistaken, or at least there was an anthology that was that came about on the web. It just brought out of nowhere, and people were wondering in terms of like, what was it about really? It's like, it was like it came as it came out of the blue really, and it was like all centered around a game, a comic, and a film. At least for what we were given, at least there were little clues here and there, and obviously we all hinted. In terms of, we were wondering what was going to come about, and there were lots of beautiful designed images that we saw that was running through in terms of the sort of. It almost came about like a story that was being told. Like we were going to get one part of it would be a game, the next would be based on the comic, then the next second would be based on what we thought or what we assumed would be a film or series. It was never really quite explained, but then they just told us to hold tight till I believe it was towards the end of the year, or at least in the future, to find out what it was. And lo and behold, we were presented, at least with the Disney conference, the Alien new project. And again, I'm ecstatic. I'm really excited for this. So what do we know so far? So at least, obviously, a new Alien show is being brought through the Disney streaming service, and writer Noah Hawley, who wrote Fargo and who was creator of Fargo, and was the writer for that as well. Legion, which was unfortunately a cancelled project, which I thought that was really good. I had got a lot of rave reviews. Had ended from, I believe it was season 2, but they didn't continue with that due to the acquisition. The next we had My Generation, where he acted as writer and creator once again, and then it was Bones, which was one of his, obviously, I believe it was one of his earlier projects, Bones. So and Ridley Scott will be executive producer. So I think why, and of course, I for one I think it's going to be good, because with everything that's happened with obviously Alien Covenant, with all the Alien, I think obviously this will be a way to tie in maybe threads of maybe David's actual origin beginning, where we get to find out and see the start of the actual company, and this is what I'm really expecting to see. So from our knowledge, so what do we know thus far? So what do we know of that, what we've been told about the show? So what we know is it's going to be set on Earth. So those that are wishing that it'd be in space, that's a no, at least from what we know of. We don't know. It could be one part goes to Earth, then the next heads into space, because I'm sure there'll be some way of joining and communicating, or trying to parallel the two together in some capacity, because obviously this is all supposed to be hidden amongst us, amongst the human civilians. So again, there's technology that Wayland is developing that is going to be either biomechanical, that is supposed to be a better way of life, at least in their eyes, the company's eyes. But as I believe the story will unfold, it will be very much, it'll be unraveling the evilness that can come from humans. Because again, if you think about the whole story of aliens, the aliens aren't the bad guys. The aliens are just an existence. They're basically their whole way of life is just to thrive and to cohabitate and to populate. Human beings, that we are the architectures. We kind of started the mechanism. So in a way, it kind of draws a lot of the horrors of not so much the alien itself, but us and what we're capable of doing. So that would be very interesting to really discover. So again, it's going to be set on Earth, and it's going to be described as a scary thrill ride set not too far in the future. So, and that's very interesting that he says that, not too far in the future. So again, if you think about how far, let's say Prometheus was, from what I know, was 2091. That was the first expedition that set on 2091. And also, if you remember further, Peter Wayland, he actually made, he attended a TED Talk, and that was played by Guy Pearce. He made a TED Talk and he was discussing about the technological extravaganza that Wayland was going to produce and introduce to everyone, and that he was describing. It was basically heading a talk based on the technological marvels that human beings have set course on and what they've produced through the whole era of their existence. And it was really good. It was it was all part of the marketing towards Prometheus, which I thought worked really well. And it gave it more gravitas, gave it more real, and you felt like you were in the audience listening to this, which was, I think, all part of the whole sort of bringing it in. So yeah, so that's gonna be again, we're talking about within the timeline of that. So the TED Talks was 2023 at least. That's where it was when it was set. So if you can imagine, between 2023 and 2091, that is how far I'm looking at the timeline, and that's where I believe the series is going to take place. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see in terms of what horrors are found, because a lot of, again, companies around the world, they specialize in doing a lot of things that are obviously in the best interest of themselves and not in the best interest of the majority. So it'd be very interesting to see what type of stories are going to be told. And also, what else do we know? FX chairman John Landgraf says that the series will have the horror and sensibility of 1979's Alien and the action-orientated approach of 1986's sequel Alien. So that's again, this is really good. I'm looking forward to this. I cannot wait. I mean, again, I think when you talk about aliens, it's these two particular films are in high regard, and people, even up to this day, regard them as the best, the pinnacle of what the saga brought. And there hasn't really been anything that's come really about, So, but yeah, no, if they can nail the suspense correctly in the horrors, and now obviously with the acquisition of being under Hulu and having the new mature rating, they can really play along. They can really go hard on this. They can go as far as they can in terms of really ramping the horror. And the best thing about this is a series. So what are we going to expect? Are we going to expect it to be like an hour-long series? Is it going to be 45 minutes? I mean, I don't know, but they've got the time to really, really take their time, drawing upon the strengths of what has made the Alien series that much more the legendary masterpieces they are. The characters, dialogue, again, everything that has really fallen in and made them the top pinnacle of futuristic films. One thing I love about the movies is that there's an unpredictableness. Just because the hero is at the beginning doesn't necessarily mean they'll be at the very end. So again, this would be very interesting. This would be very, very interesting. Yeah. So again, if you think about the timeline, again, when I mentioned about the timeline, obviously it's so I have a, let me see. So let's go to the beginning of where we see. So 1990, supposedly Peter Wayland was born, and then you got 2004 when we remember Alien versus Predator. Well, some people tend not to want to think about that. I you know what, a crossover with those two can actually work, but I think the way both films were executed, well, some parts it worked, some parts didn't, you know, sort of thing. So Alien vs Predator, the first one, was really taken for an action and wasn't really, I don't think, honed in seriously on that. And I think it was also the nature of Fox, where they weren't gonna allow Paul Anderson, the actual to go full R-rated, which was really a shame, because I think that could have lent itself to be a little bit more dark and could have been more better. Okay, and you go into Alien vs Predator Requiem, done by the Strauss brothers, directed by Strauss brothers, and again the gore element was there. And again, parts of it was good, but you could tell the script and the dialogue and it really was cheesy. It was, some of it was really like just robbed and taken off the best of the other series. It's just, oh man, had I been on board, you know, really on board to help them with, I would have probably produced, no, I would have definitely produced something far, far better. Something that would have been more gravitas and more inclined. None of the cheesy dialogue. And unfortunately, it suffered because of that. Not even so much the Earth element, because I think it was great, you know, having the wolf-type predator who was stalking the aliens. But, I mean, the execution was just poor. Absolutely poor. So, as going on, saying like 2012, Peter Wayland, he founded Wayland Corps. So, 2012 was when, you know, Peter Wayland actually put together the Wayland Corps Corporation and started the organization from there. So the company behind us, the Nostromo mission, the Marines going into, he was the guy behind it, you know. Again, 2023, again, the TED Talks. Around 2030, Wayland creates David, the first android. So 2030. So again, mentioning in the series, could David have a hand in it? You know, Michael Fassbender, he might be able to. It would be kind of like the start of where, of how David was done. And I think that'd be great to kind of showcase his actual origin. I would love to hear that. I would love to see that, definitely. So 2080, Dr. Shaw and Dr. Charlie Holloway discover evidence of stars. So this is 2080. So again, this is getting into the future. So again, as I mentioned before, the timeline I believe I can imagine this taking place would be between 2023 and 2091. Gives them time to play around and chew around. And because the actual Prometheus expedition actually takes its place over there. What else do we say? So what else do we have? So again, because of this is the Alien series, we get to actually see the introduction into Wayland as a company itself and the people behind them. And again, you know, your suits, you know, will be kind of almost typical stuck up, very serious, very backhand, treacherous. It would be very, very interesting to see people that want to sort of almost just to sort of help the company in ways they think they are, not knowing that the company is actually there's a darker layer to them. So again, this is all about what they can try to get away with. So what can we go from there? So also, if you notice from Alien Covenant, again, this was a Wayland expedition, not a Wayland-Yutani. So again, will we see the introduction into Yutani? And they're a Japanese company. For a start, who is the? We weren't really introduced properly. I mean, we did see a glimmer of a woman that was at the end of Alien's Requiem, but again, nothing was said. I think that was probably just one of the other heads that was either running the corporation, but we don't know exactly who the person in charge of Yutani is. And I think this would be a fantastic opportunity for us to know who is behind that part of the company, because eventually in time they merged together, Wayland and Yutani, and that's where they sent the first expedition, which is the Nostromo, which would be amazing to see, and it would be interesting to see like the back end of that. And you can almost imagine like a backlog or diary in terms of they've chosen these explorers to go out and set course to find and refinery and oils to go on an expedition and to travel, not realizing that their course is to pick up this egg and to again discover the goings that go. I mean, it's what this series will bring. I can almost imagine. So what else can I tell you about Yutani? Not much really. I suppose in a way, what is fitting to know is Yutani, from what I know, was founded in 2074. So again, this is obviously within the period of Wayland. But if you notice, Wayland was the Prometheus and the Covenant mission. They were Wayland specific. So we have to think in terms of how far are we looking at the actual crossover. So which I think the Covenant colonization is 2000. So 2000, I believe it was 2104 was when I think the Covenant mission goes. So again, this is like many years back, many years forward. But again, when at that point do we actually see the merger? And they've got to obviously make sure that they tie in very well. I mean, does it become a Yutani expedition as well? Do we see that corporation? Do we see a sole expedition that go out to travel and to find out? Because what are they about? What do they bring to the table of the company? Maybe they provide obviously more shares, more obviously investments as well. It'd be great to see people, who are the people behind the xenomorph mask, should we say? Right. That's it. All I can say really. I mean, as you can know, I'm just hyped for the show. I really am. I think there's so much that can be unveiled, and developed. Again, I want to see. What do I else want to see? Of course, the aliens will take place. But again, it's all about characterization. I want character. I want to see strong development. I don't want just to rush into it, and that's why this will be a fantastic way to introduce us to the key players. Maybe this series could focus on one particular type of people. Eventually, they might get killed off, and then if it works out well, fingers crossed. That they please fingers crossed that they think about going back to Alien Covenant, because that needs to be sealed. At least we need to finish that, because I think Ridley Scott did say that he had 3 sequels after Covenant to come. So if he was to do that, that would be fantastic. He might have them written out, he might have them out, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it'd be great to see them. So if this series does well, there'll be a lot more aliens to come, and I think it will do well because again, streaming service, it can accumulate a lot of dough, and again, that will translate into more films and stuff. So, oh, fantastic, good days, good days. Yeah, the future looks bright. So anyway, guys, what do you think? What do you think of this series? What are your expectations when watching this? Do you have any hopes, any desires? What is it that you want to see more specifically? What is it that you like about the aliens? What is it you don't like? You know, what is it that you want it to be more? Because obviously we've been told that it's going to be focused a lot, have a lot of the alien and aliens inspiration. So again, it's going to be tonally, it's going to be very, very dark. And again, I think I would love to see, the people who's going to be directing the series as well. Maybe Ridley Scott's son, who actually helped. I believe he did the Last Supper film. When he did that as well. So it'd be great to see his introduction, because I actually loved the way he had filmed that. So and how he had the camera, and it was all ornate, all organic, this sort of gathering, and I loved the conversation there. It just felt all real. So that being said, thank you for watching this video, and please, like I said, I would love comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. I really would, because I think the more we speak on this, the more I think the fan base will grow more and more so. And people thought the Alien series was dead. No, it's very much alive. It's just been interesting to see the direction it goes in, and I think obviously with this FX, he's hoping that also. I don't know about you, but I would love for this to come out on Blu-ray as well. Like a limited series if it comes out. If it does, we've got to sort of knock on Disney's door and say, look, please produce a limited edition. Even if it's a limited amount, just tell us and price, and we will buy it. Because people want those in their collection as well. And again, you're subscribing as well to the Disney service. So I think as far as I'm aware, it all comes as a package. Anyway, thank you very much, people, and I hope all of you keep well, keep safe, and remember, wash those hands. Yeah, man, Alien on FX, it's back, baby. Anyway, guys, thank you very much, and have a good one. Peace.